This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And today I've got Jennifer Tamborski. She's a digital marketing strategist, and she's had a decade of running a marketing agency, and she helps clients do that. She's also a podcast host, marketing matchmaker, and I'm happy to welcome her to the show. Jennifer, welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah. Talk about your journey or your story, what you do, and we'll dive right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey, I think, was a long one, just like every other entrepreneur out there. I actually started almost 20 years ago in just in the online business. And through a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, I ended up specifically in the marketing world, and have been for about a decade. I ran a full service digital marketing agency. I'd spent time helping solopreneurs and entrepreneurs really to grow their business and create lead generation in their business. And over the past year or so, I've pivoted the business slightly to where I'm providing more fractional level CMO, so Chief Marketing Officer type of work, or consulting to, again, those service-based business owners who are struggling to know what to do first, next in marketing, or how to scale their business effectively.
Yeah, interesting. So, we'll talk about this idea is the more and more, I'm in this digital marketing landscape. What advice do you have for business owners trying to navigate? Because there's like always these new features and new platforms. These platforms get banned, you're wasting their time, it's like kind of like, what are your thoughts?
Definitely. I mean, let's be honest, social media can be a time suck. Like it can definitely suck up all your time if you're spending all of your time in social media. So, I mean, as far as like time management goes, definitely put a clock around it, right? You're going to spend an hour on social media or something like that. I often, in my own world, put an alarm on my phone to like stop spending the time over there. That being said, I most often encourage my clients to move their clients off of social media, because as much as social media is a great platform to engage and find audiences and help them get to know you, because you have the possibility of being banned or your account getting hacked or whatever it might be where you lose your account, your best option is to create an email list. And I know so many people say email marketing is dead. It is not, my friends. More people actually communicate via email. You can also start text messaging if you'd rather do something a little bit more immediate on that front. Either way, if you are going to really create a connection with your audience, you need to be off of social media to do that, because you control your message. You control when you message them. You control what it is you're talking about, and really the timing of everything, as opposed to social media. When you're on social media, they control everything you say, whether you can obviously say what you want within their guidelines, but they control who sees it and when. So it's very important to not rely solely on social media when you're doing your marketing.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I was listening to this talk the other day, and the one thing is these platforms, they're more attention now. They're just trying to get attention and likes and clicks and followers, and at the expense of content creators. So talk about this idea. So basically, I've, kind of elucidate for the audience, like you have 2 million followers, 4 million followers, but then let's say, for example, you have, a couple thousand, but these are really engaged.
High interest buyers. You're not really looking for followers. We all want more followers, but followers aren't going to give you money. Like being the content creators that are actually making money on the platforms aren't doing it because of the platforms. They're doing it because they're able to sell something to their audience. So you need engaged buyers. It is, if you have 500 really engaged buyers on your social media, that is worth 1,000,000 times more than 1,000,000 people who keep just scrolling or watch your video and scroll on.
Yeah. So I love that. And I love this idea of control. Next question I have is what are your thoughts on the TikTok? This is one thing that because basically, I mean, basically, it's like they didn't like TikTok and they made up this excuse and they, tried to ban it because it was a better platform. Talk about what are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm going to stay out of the politics of it because that's not my area of expertise. I think TikTok is both a blessing and a curse. It is a good platform. You can make money on TikTok. You can get followers on TikTok. I use TikTok. What I don't do is spend time on TikTok because that is the curse part. You can get sucked into that algorithm and find 4 or 5 hours later that you're still scrolling, doom scrolling on TikTok. So, or any other platform that has, short form content does the same thing. So YouTube or Instagram, whether or not they ban it or sell it to a US company, like that's a whole political thing that I'm going to stay out of. I'm not a politician.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because, I know a lot of people, they've built their platforms on TikTok and,
Yeah.
they've got like 20 million and they
Yep.
to get banned. You're
For
basically,
those who have massive followings on TikTok, start moving them. Start using Instagram. Like the same stuff that you're posting on TikTok, you can post on Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter. Start moving them to other platforms just to hedge your bets.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I love that. The other question I have is I've been talking to a lot of individuals and they were saying and I've been thinking about this and they're saying focus on one platform, build your niche, your client avatar. And I was actually listening to this one guy, he was talking about he built a six-figure business by basically he was recording videos that of interest to him and he was just putting them up on YouTube. And this like there was no niche. He just basically these videos were interesting. And he's like, yeah, you don't need a client avatar. And he's like, and then the other thing was he was saying like, yeah, if you just focus on Instagram or focus on, Facebook or Twitter, that's it. And then, see what happens. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I definitely do say primarily focus on one social media platform that you're going to grow, right? Whatever that one is, you choose, it's fine. I do cross post my content to all social media platforms because if you have it, why not? Like there's no reason not to. But I don't spend a ton of time on those other platforms growing and like really focusing on how to grow your audience on others. As you grow, though, you will start to want to tap into other markets. So you can definitely build a six-figure business very easily on social media on one platform. As you start to get to that seven-figure mark, you're going to want to start tapping into more platforms and really starting to grow there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I had this thought it was just because like for example, Twitter's got these new features. It's like man, now you can start to write articles and they've got AI. And yeah, it's quite interesting. And there was this idea what you were talking about, this cross-platform concept that's
Yeah.
yeah. We did one I had another question, but it'll come back to me. But one thing that's talking about is what strategies and tips can you offer to your audience to help them scale their businesses without feeling overwhelmed and that aligns with their dream lives.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I think, try and do too much. And that is where the focus on one avatar, because it's going to make your life easier. If you know directly who you're talking to, if your goal is content creation and you want to be a creator, yes, just post interesting content. If your goal is to actually grow a business, then your clients are the people that you need to work with. Those are who you're talking to. So pick one avatar that's very specific, pick messaging and a way to attract them. Use the tools that we have in place. There's a lot of focus on AI right now, but you know what? We've had AI for decades. All of our email automations, those are all AI, right? So if you're creating a funnel, let's say a lead generation where you're attracting your ideal clients, they're downloading something, and then you have an email nurture sequence that actually turns them into clients as opposed to just freebie seekers. That's what you want to focus on. That's what's going to make it so that your job is so much easier and you're not as stressed about constantly chasing leads.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different shift in mindset. So yeah, and what's interesting is, for example, like these videos, I just kind of use YouTube as like just a throwaway channel. I just put videos on there, and then like I said, it was just starting to get views, and people were just starting to get interested, and it's quite interesting. So how do you help people with clients, they're interested in getting into social media, but they don't have time, or like a social media manager. Talk about relationship marketing and your ideal clients.
Yeah, so I love this concept of relationship marketing. So I actually have a system called Dating Your Ideal Client, and it's really 5 steps to helping your ideal client connect with you, move through a customer journey so that they're ready to buy from you, and then keeping in front of them and connected to them so that I always call it keeping the romance alive, so that you can continue to either sell to them later or they can become your biggest fans. I think it's incredibly important, no matter what type of marketing that we're doing, that we look at it from a relationship perspective. Every business is all about relationships. People don't buy from people. They don't buy a product. They buy from people. I always correlate it to Nike didn't explode with the Air Jordans because they made a fantastic shoe. They did it because Michael Jordan was the person that was selling the shoe. So if you can create that type of relationship with your audience and come at it from that perspective, people will buy from you. They're not going to buy from I see a lot on social media lately, the faceless kind of videos and that kind of stuff, building a faceless social media and how they made money at it. You can do that to a certain extent, and there's still going to be a cap because, again, people want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from some faceless person. They want to feel a connection with the person in your business. So whether you're a small solo business and it's just you, or you're a mid to, large, small business, there still has to be a face to it if you're going to be in front of your audience.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it reminds me of those the streaming YouTubes where it's like they just like, and it's just kind of playing, but I'm sure and they've got like millions of followers, and it's just basically people streaming. I'm sure those are really good. But like I said, it's like kind of like, are you building a channel or are you building a business? How can
That's the
people
difference. That's the big difference especially when it comes to social media. Are you building a following or are you building a business? That's the question.
Yeah. How can people contact you and follow you and reach out to you and check out the work that you do?
Yeah, so I do have the podcast Marketing Matchmaker where we dive into all of these types of topics. So you can hit that on pretty much every social media platform as well as every podcast platform. And if you are looking for some help, you can head over to virtualmarketingexpert.com and sign up for a free strategy call.
Yeah. For all the audience, let's thank for coming on to the podcast, and be sure to give her socials a like and follow. reach out to her, check out her website. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.